I could genuinely be filming this video for the rest of my life. Guys, as you can tell by the title, this is a, for me, long-awaited book haul. I haven't filmed a book haul since June. That was 4 months ago. And since I got my current job, obviously I've kind of gone book crazy because I'd spent so much time this year trying not to spend excessive amounts of money. I've got 6.5 stacks of books, right? This is one stack. Then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 stack in front of me. I don't know where the fuck to start. It's probably gonna be a long video, but I'm gonna try and make it as brief as I can. Let's just get into it, okay? First, I picked up the Evernight exclusive edition of Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker. I read this earlier in the year. I fucking loved it. I decided to buy myself a special edition. It has a really cool naked hardcover, reverse dust jacket. It has got cool little like ghosties on the side, and I am very happy I purchased this. I bought it secondhand from someone on Facebook and I love that edition. I don't think I'm going to go too much into the plot of most of these books, especially if I've already discussed them on this channel. Similarly, I also purchased the special edition, the Evernight edition of The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig, another beautiful naked hardcover that I actually purchased from the same person. I have not read it yet, but I know that Chuck Wendig is quite popular in horror, and to me this seems like very creepypasta-esque, so very excited for that one. Next, I picked up Caught Up by Navissa Ellen because I already owned Lights Out. Haven't read Lights Out, but you know me, always buy a full series before I start reading any of the books. We then have Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson. I've never heard of this author before, but I did get recommended this on TikTok, and I believe it follows a woman who's on a true crime podcast, and someone comes on to confess to a murder, and she knows that they're full of shit because she committed that murder. I think that's the basic plot. I am currently waiting for an audiobook of this from my library, but this book is fucking popular. This book is not going to be available at my library for like 16 weeks or something crazy, so that's exciting. I think this was a Prime Day sale way earlier in the year, because for some reason Amazon seems to have Prime Day sales like every couple of months. I picked up Midnight at the Houdini by Delilah S. Dawson. I've now read 4 books by Delilah S. Dawson, and while I typically am staying away from YA for the most part, I love her writing style so much that I thought I would pick this one up. And from what I remember, it's like a surreal hotel where no one ever leaves. Very Hotel California vibe, so I decided to pick it up, and it's a hardcover. This was $6, so I had to buy it. Then I purchased Manhunt by Gretchen Falkup Martin from QBD. Now it was $30, which is like quite pricey because I'm pretty sure this is like $15 on Amazon. I just know this is a horror book that's, I think, focuses on 2 trans protagonists and something to do with like killing and hunting down a whole bunch of TERFs. I don't know, but I've heard good things, so I purchased it. I also purchased The Corruption of Hollis Brown by Kay Ingram. Now, I love Kay Ingram. I have read 3 of their books, and I loved all of them in different ways. This one is definitely like top tier for me. I don't know how to explain this story without making it really confusing, but we basically follow a teenage boy, and he accidentally invites a spirit of another teenage boy into his body, so the 2 of them cohabit Hollis Brown's body, but it's like a love story as well. It was just really beautiful. I think I was only halfway through this when I decided I needed to own it, so I was reading at the library and then was like, nope, this needs to be on my shelves physically, so yes. But the next stack, luckily, is mostly just one series of special editions. It is the Bergman Brothers series by Chloe Lees, and it is the Afterlight editions, so they form this beautiful fucking picture. I love it. So in this, these are going to be in reverse order. No, they're not. Don't do it that way because that would be stupid of me. We have got Only When It's Us, Always Only You. So those are the 2 that I have read, and I loved them both. Then we've got Ever After Always. I hate the titles of these books because I'm never going to remember them. With You Forever, Everything for You, If Only You, and Only and Forever. Now, I've said this so many times, like, to people, I fucking hate the names of these books because, like, they are so similar. There's the word only, there's only the word forever, the word you, the word always. Like, the titles are so similar. Basically, this series follows a family of siblings. It's called the Bergman Brothers series, but there are 2 sisters as well, and each book just follows one of these siblings and their potential love interest. And like I said, I've read the 2 first books. I really loved them. Again, I'm just waiting for like just the right time, the right vibe to jump back into this series, but from what I've read so far, I'm going to fucking love this series. And they are just such beautiful fucking books. I didn't even show you guys. I only showed you the back side. These are the spines. Look how beautiful they are. So yeah, I bought those. Literally, I was going to say, I bought these ages ago. I did. I probably bought them about 4 months ago. So there's going to be quite a few special editions in here. I don't even want to know how many books are in this haul. So let's just move swiftly along. Next, I picked up I think it's the Bookish Box edition. Yes, the Bookish Box edition of The Dead Guy Next Door by Lucy Score. So this is the first book in the Riley Thorne series. Now we'll get into it a little bit later, but I did see Lucy Score in person recently, and she was saying that this series is one where she kind of like let her freak flag fly. Like, this series is bizarre and unbelievable and just fun, and that's what she wanted from this series. Like, she wanted to step away from the more serious, intense romances and just write whatever the fuck she wanted. So yes, this is a Bookish Box edition. I don't know when the next book is coming out through the Bookish Box. I have no idea, but very excited. This is about, I think, a psychic, and she finds her neighbor dead, so she needs to work together with this detective to solve the murder and romance. So yeah. Next, I picked up Strange Houses by Yukitsu. Is that how you say it? Yukitsu. This book, I just know, is like a weird horror. It kind of seems like House of Leaves for kindergartners, and I really want to read House of Leaves one day, so I bought this in preparation. Then we've got another stack of special editions. So these are actually Poston Fairyloot editions. So we have got The 7-Year Slip, The Dead Romantics, and a novel love story. I have also pre-ordered Sounds Like Love, so I will have all of these together. But again, my favorite part, oh, they're just so beautiful. They're so beautiful. I ummed and ahed about these for a really long time. If you guys are collectors of special editions, you'll know. I think it's specifically The Dead Romantics. Like, this book can be so fucking expensive. So I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I am really glad that I purchased those 3. They're just like contemporary romances, but they're really, really beautiful, so I love them. Next, we have a book that I picked up from Savers on just like a spur of the moment purchase. It is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I owned, I think, the first 3 books in this series years ago. I mean, like, when I was still in high school. And I never gravitated towards them. I just never seemed drawn to them, so I ended up unhauling them all. But then when I saw this at Savers for like $3, and this is the original cover, not the movie cover, which is the one that I had, I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna pick it up, keep it on my shelves, see how we go. I've always been interested in this. I know that it has like really interesting photographs throughout, and I'm still not entirely sure on what the actual plot is, but I'm excited to have it again, I guess. Next, we have my current read. So I'm actually like so close to finishing this book. I don't know why I decided to stop reading a book I'm really enjoying to film this video that is going to take me so long, but anyway, I did that. So it is Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. This is her newest adult release, and I am so fucking obsessed with this book. I think this might be my favorite of Lynn Painter's adult romances. This book follows a maid and a really, really, really rich guy. Now, she cleans his apartment, but her apartment is getting fumigated, so because he's never at home, she kind of decides to like sort of live in his apartment, like sort of just decide to squat in his apartment while he's not home. And she accidentally meets his parents, and his parents are like, oh my god, we've been waiting to meet you, like we've heard so many good things about you. And he's like, well, yeah. He finds her and says, okay, don't like sleep in my apartment when I'm not there, but also can you pretend to be my girlfriend because my parents now think you're my girlfriend. And it is adorable, and I'm loving it, and I'm sure the next like 20 pages are going to give me so much life. So that can go over there. I'm finishing it tonight. I'm very excited too. Next, I picked up Tenderly I Am Devoured by Lyndall Clipstone. Now, this was mostly a cover purchase. I think this cover is stunning. All I know about this book is it is like a gothic YA romance, which I'm sold. Okay, so next we have got Blood on Her Tongue by Joanna Van Veen. I know that this is like a gothic, possibly vampire horror about 2 sisters, one who is really unwell and the other who is trying to help her. Very intrigued by this one. I also decided to pick up a paperback from Hell. So this is Let's Go Play at the Adamses by Mendel W. Johnson. I had a video idea to just read all of the paperbacks from Hell, but they are very expensive. I think this book was about $35. This one seemed the most interesting to me, so this is the one I decided to actually pay for, but I would like to one day make my way through them all. This is about a babysitter, goes to watch some kids for I think 2 weeks, and like, it is kids gone wild. Like, apparently this book is fucking horrific, so I'm very excited to read it. And despite already owning one of her books, or 2 of her books, I decided to pick up another book by Jennifer Hillier. This one is called The Butcher. I don't remember what this is about, but it sounded like good thriller vibes. Sorry if it seems like I'm rushing through this video. Like, I kind of am, just because there are, like, so many to get through. Like, I'm looking at the piles in front of me, and it's very overwhelming, so I'm trying to, like, make this not impossible to edit. Next, I picked up The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walter. This was mostly a sprayed edges purchase. It was at Big W. It looked really cute. Now, I do think this leans more towards the YA side of romance than the new adult side of romance, but it was something that seemed kind of cute and interesting, so I decided to purchase it. I also decided to purchase A Forbidden Alchemy by Stacey McEwen. Now that she is an Australian author, this series sounds really interesting. It's kind of like a fantasy world where you get sorted between, I think, different like classes, and the main character and her best friend get separated and then eventually find out that the class system isn't a we test you and tell you what you're going to be. It is already predetermined, and like the government is sus as fuck. Another one that had beautiful sprayed edges, so like obviously if I'm already interested in a book, which I was, I'm going to hold out for the sprayed edges for the same price, you know what I mean? So that's what I did with that one. I also pre-ordered This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead because I really enjoyed In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. Have I read any of her books since? No, I haven't, but one day I will. I don't know what this is about. I just bought it because Ashley Winstead is an author by author for me based on that single book. I also decided to pick up Thanks for Nothing by Stephanie Holmes. This kind of just seemed like a fun paranormal romance. It literally, the tagline says small town book club, big vampire energy. It just seems like a fun, lighthearted, probably millennial look at vampires, and I'm okay with that. I also picked up Twisted Heathens by J. Rose. Now this was when I was really in the mood to read a good, solid reverse harem romance, and I still am kind of looking for that. I have read a couple in the last few months, but they just, none of them have hit where I've needed them to hit, so I still really want this to be the one. But it is the first book, and I think a series of 4, so I only bought the first book pending how I feel about it. But this is set in an asylum, so it could be really problematic. I couldn't tell you. I have not read it yet, but one day. I picked up the newest release, I think, by Goldie Moldavsky. Now, Goldie Moldavsky has written some of my favorite YA books. Like, she hits. She writes really interesting thrillers that like sometimes have romances in them. This is gothic and intriguing. I think it's maybe a dark academia sort of vibe as well. But it's about a guy that Rose is really interested in. He introduces her to his Slice of Paradise, which is a really private garden, and then Rose discovers something about the garden. Probably like the soil they use is full of human corpses. Like, I've read that trope so much lately, but I just think it is a beautiful book, and this was one that had been on my wish list since it was announced. So I waited a very long time for this book, and now I have it, and I haven't read it. Isn't that just the way it goes? Another book I purchased in my search for reverse harems was Blizzards and Bastards by Sam Stunich. Now, I know this book is going to a hit. She is the only author that has successfully written multiple reverse harems that I've really, really enjoyed reading. I think this is about a woman who ends up stuck at a truck stop, possibly, with a band, and she has no option but to kind of like wait out the storm with them. So this is, I'm saving this for December. This is going to be one of my Christmas reads. The next book I didn't purchase. I actually received it in a Facebook giveaway. So it is called Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. I think this is about a woman who basically trains for years to kind of get revenge on the people that killed her family, but in order to get her revenge she needs to work with them initially. I don't know, but I think that this is a really, really beautiful cover. I was actually going to buy this book of my own accord. Thought, oh, maybe I'll wait till the next book comes out, and then I ended up winning this giveaway within the same week. So that was a really, really cool thing. I won it from Penguin. So that was very, very groovy. The next book I also received in a giveaway, and it is called Down Comes the Night by Alison Soft. Now this follows two people. One of them, she's a healer, and the other is a guy who can wield a terrible power over death. So it's kind of like a healer and a destroyer, and I think they have to work together. And I received this one, I think it was from Hachette. Yeah. So this is another one I didn't have to pay for, which was lovely, because as you can tell, I've spent a lot of money on books in the last 4 months. I don't want to think about it. Next, I picked up a short story collection that I've had my eye on since it came out. It is called The Gathering Dark. The reason I did finally purchase it is because it was edited by Tori Bovalino, and I really liked No Good for Maidens. That was a really, really great book, so I decided to give this one a go. I know it is mostly like folksy stories, which I'm gonna be very honest, folk horror doesn't always hit with me. Sometimes it's not really my vibe. I'm hoping that I will find at least a couple of stories that I really enjoy from this one. Next, I picked up the sequel to Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. Now, I really liked the first book. It followed a Texan girl who moves, I believe, to Ireland for her career, I think, and she ends up moving next door to a morgue and ends up becoming besties and eventually in a relationship with the guy who runs the morgue. And this follows our FMC's cousin and our MMC's best friend from the first book. Very excited for this. Don't know why I haven't read it yet, because I've got problems. Next, I got Freak's Law by Jane Flett. Now, my hope is that this book is going to give me what Geek Love failed to give me. Just like a carnival book about a freak show. Okay, so this says it is set in the summer of 97, set in Scotland. Enter the Freak's Law, a travelling fun fair populated by deviant queers and other architects of mayhem. It says that they are also out for revenge, and I do know, because I have flipped through this book, that there is like a list of the characters at the start. There's 4 pages of the cast of the book, which is intimidating. Like, I guess it's a good reference to go back to and refer to, but it's intimidating that there's going to be 4 pages of characters that I need to keep track of, but I am very excited for that one. Next, I picked up a special edition, so the Evernight exclusive of The Eyes of the Best Part by Monica Kim. I think those pages are so fucking cool. This was just me fixating on the Evernight special editions. I haven't read The Eyes of the Best Part. I really, really hope that I enjoy it. But I just went through a phase of like, I want all the Evernight exclusives. That phase has stopped. I was going to buy a lot of books I wasn't interested in just because these editions are so beautiful. But anyway, I think this follows a girl and her mum has a new boyfriend, and she's like, for some reason, obsessed with her mum's boyfriend's eyes because they are blue. And I think she wants to eat his eyes. So that could be very interesting. Hope so. And I have got 2 more special editions in this stack. So we have got these 2 now. I purchased these as part of a last chance sale, and these were both considered damaged, so I got these both ridiculously cheap. But we have got Dreams of 18 by Saffron A. Kent and Sweet Dandelion by Michaela Smeltzer, and these are both from the Blush Book Box. So yeah. Next, I picked up Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. This is the 3rd book in the Lakefront Billionaire series. So I did read the Dreamland Billionaire series. I have yet to start this series. I'm sure I'm going to love it. But as far as the plot goes, I think these are just like pretty standard romances. Next, I have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. Now, this was a book that I got from Savers, so I think it was about $4. I have only ever seen the second book at like Big W and Kmart. I've never seen the first book anywhere. I feel like I would have purchased it by now if I had. But yeah, saw this secondhand and I was like, I am intrigued in this series. I think it's a cozy fantasy, which I had not read. So I want to give cozy fantasy a shot, and I thought this was a great way to do it. But again, I'm trying to do a thing now where I only buy the first book in a series if it's an author I haven't read from before. I've never read from Heather Fawcett, so this is the only book I'm going to purchase in the series until I read this book. Next, we have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This was another pick from Savers, and I bought this because I've been talking to the girls in my book club about it. And then 2 or 3 days later, I saw it at Savers, and I thought it was kind of kismet, so I did purchase this for $5 or $6, and I already have the audiobook, so I will probably actually read this like sooner rather than later. On the same trip to Savers, I also found The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker. This is a retelling of the Iliad, but from a female perspective. This follows Briseis. This was a book I was interested in after reading The Song of Achilles earlier this year, because Briseis plays like a significant part in the latter half of the book, and I saw this book pop up frequently on lists of what to read after The Song of Achilles, and I wasn't ready to commit to paying full price for it. So when I saw this at Savers for like $5, I had to get it. Very excited to read this, but not right now. Like, I do want to read this one day, but like that day is not soon, if that makes sense. Next, I purchased a special edition of a book that I haven't read yet, which, as you can tell, I've done a couple of times in this video, but this edition is so fucking beautiful. So this is the Illumicrate edition of The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. I did not realize that this dust jacket is like... Isn't that so cool? I didn't realize it was see-through. I am just obsessed. I feel like all the editions I've seen of this book are stunning. But I do like this one best. And it's got the beautiful sprayed edges, and I mean, I know there's a lot of discourse online about fanfictions being turned into books, but you know what, guys? I actually am staying out of the conversation. I don't care. I love fanfictions, and if they're being published in beautiful books, I'm going to purchase them. Next, I picked up The People in the Trees by Hanya Yanagihara. Don't know if you guys can tell, but I kind of have a thing for A Little Life. If we will see a further example of that later in this video. I really love A Little Life, and I thought to myself, why not go back to where it all started? So I picked up the first book that Hanya Yanagihara published, and I've heard that this book, I think the reason that I purchased it was because someone had discussed how disturbing the ending was. Not in a Little Life disturbing way, but in a genuinely like sickening, like just wrong sort of way, and that intrigued me because I love dark and disturbing stuff. I think this follows a biologist who discovers basically the key to immortality on this small island that has been like untouched by the rest of society. And I don't know what this biologist does, but I'm pretty sure he does some fucked up shit to ensure that he only gets the key to immortality. I don't know. Then I purchased The Wedding People by Alison Espach because this was my book club's pick of, what month was it? September. This was the September pick. So I would have purchased this at the end of August, possibly. I really love this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. This follows a woman who has decided that she's just going to kill herself. She's done. She's had a really tough time of it lately, and she decides, I'm going to book into this fancy hotel that I've always wanted to go to, and I'm going to kill myself. But on her first night there, she realizes she's the only person at the hotel who is not a wedding guest for this week-long wedding. And the bride says, no, you can't actually kill yourself because that's going to ruin my wedding. And it was just such a good book. It was so fun, so believable, and I loved it. And on a spur of the moment decision, I also purchased A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows by Holly Renee. Do you know I purchased this book? I purchased this book because the Facebook fucking algorithm has not left me alone. I think at least twice a day I see an ad for this book, and I decided, fuck it. If Facebook thinks it knows me so well, let's prove it. I don't remember what this is about, but I hope Facebook's right. Another one I purchased based on a recommendation is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I'm going to be so real, guys. I don't know if I'm ever going to prioritize reading a romance that is built like a brick. Like, I don't see it happening. However, some of my beautiful ladies at book club were like, you need to read it. You need to read it ASAP. Like, you fucking need to read it. And I was already at Big W buying something else, so I thought I will purchase it, and if I ever feel the need to read it, it'll be on my shelves ready to go. I think this is just a romance that for some reason thinks it deserves to be 700 pages. It's just unhinged behavior, to be honest. How do you have the time, the effort, the energy to write a 700-page romance that then continues into a sequel? I don't know. I also picked up The Build a Boyfriend Project by Mason Deaver. This is an Afterlight edition. I've only read one book by Mason Deaver, but I loved it, so I purchased this one. I think it's a fake dating situation, but like, as per expected, Afterlight editions are just so fucking sweet and beautiful and cutesy, so I purchased it. These next few are also from Savers. So at Savers, I found My Sister the Serial Killer. I have read this before. I have owned this before. I unhauled it because I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. And I remember at the time of unhauling it, I said, I really wish I had the time to give this book a second chance, because I just don't think I was in the right place when I read it, and I think that if I reread it I would really love it. But then I unhauled it anyway because I was going through one of my moods, so when I saw this for $3 I picked it up again. I also picked up The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. Now, I thought that when I was purchasing The Soulmate, I was actually purchasing The Younger Wife. However, as you can see, this is not called The Younger Wife, it is called The Soulmate. So I purchased this, got home, got so excited, and then actually looked back at the screenshot I'd taken and realized this wasn't the right book. But this is basically, how far would you go for your soulmate? Like, if your soulmate came to you and said, babe, I've killed someone, are you going to cover for them or are you going to turn them in? Very interesting concept, Australian author. We're here to support local, guys. I also found Three Women by Lisa Taddeo for I think $4. Now, I loved Animal by Lisa Taddeo, so I'm very excited to get into this. Now, I believe that this is a non-fiction. I know that Lisa Taddeo spent, I think she said 8 years with these three women, interviewing them, watching them just go about their natural life. She found like newspaper articles and did like a bunch of research about these three women. Now, I don't know what this is actually about. I don't know what these three women have in common or what they've done in their lives, but I'm very excited to see what this book is like. It's just a very intriguing concept to me. So I'm very excited. And the last one from this stack that I found from Savers was Lapvona. I have never known how to pronounce this title, Lapvona, by Ottessa Moshfegh. Know that this is a historical. I know this is set in like a medieval village. I don't think it is my type of book, but I saw it for $4 and I thought, I'm gonna have to pick it up. So the next book we have is Our Last Resort. I haven't actually read The Quiet Tenant, but I preemptively decided I was going to enjoy it, so I had to purchase the follow-up. That's what I do. Next, I've got Kill Creatures by Rory Power. Now, first of all, I think this cover is stunning, but also I really enjoyed Wilder Girls by Rory Power, and this kind of gives me the same energy, so I decided to purchase it. I think this might be a bit more of a thriller than a body horror, but like, I couldn't not purchase this book. I also purchased Strange Pictures, so the follow-up to Strange Houses, and again, same sort of like weird vibes throughout. Maybe a precursor to the House of Leaves book that I'm scared to read. We'll see. I also picked up Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kwong. So this one was $23. I did purchase it from QBD. And then about 2 weeks after I paid $23 for this, I found it at Savers for $2. So that was a bad decision, but whatever. The one from Savers was pretty ratchet, so like I am glad that I got this one, but would have been nice to save $20. So yeah, I'm not going to explain Yellowface. I feel like everyone on the internet has heard about it. But the next book, guys, this book was so exciting. So I went to QBD randomly one weekend with my parents and I found Hot Wax by M.L. Rio. And I was like, hell yes, I love M.L. Rio. So I picked up this book because it ended up being the exact same price as it was on Amazon, and I was going to purchase it on Amazon, but I was already in the store, so I just purchased it in store. So I took it off the shelves. It was like $22 or something, and for some reason, sometimes I find myself doing this. I like flip through the book. I don't know why. And when I flipped through the book, I saw this. And usually at QBD, when there's a signed book, there's a sticker on the front. This one didn't have a sticker, just had the price tag. So I went up to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I think someone put this on the shelves not realizing that it was a signed copy. And she goes, oh my god, steal, like, yeah, go get it. So I go to the counter, I handed it to the girl, and she goes, oh, you found one of our secret signed copies. First of all, exciting shit like that never happens to me. Second of all, I was like, secret signed copies? Why wouldn't you have it? I don't know, man, but I have a signed copy of Hot Wax, so I'm very excited to read this. I just finished Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio, so now I've read 2 of his 3 works. Is M.L. Rio a man? M.L. Rio is a lady. Interesting. Well, I've read her 2 other books, so I'm very excited to get into this one. Next, I went to Big W, and I definitely made some purchases. Made purchases. I decided to pick up The Gods Games Play.
I would just like to point out that as I said that, I paused because I knew that something was wrong, but I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And now watching it back, I realize what I said wrong. So that's really embarrassing for me.
Do you know why I purchased it? Because it has pages. I'm obsessed. It has beautiful end pages. It has a beautiful Naked hardcover. And I love Greek mythology. I just wasn't super on top of the ball with this one. It kind of stayed in my peripheral as far as like, oh, Greek mythology books, but then I saw it at Big W and I was very interested, so here we are with a beautiful sprayed edged copy of it. And similarly, this is a book that I actually did just want to purchase and read anyway, but I thought, don't just buy the paperback, because you're going to buy the paperback, you're going to read the paperback, and you're going to be like, hey, dickhead, why don't you go get the hardcover with sprayed edges? So I thought, we're just going to skip the paperback and go straight to the hardcover with sprayed edges. It is Calabasas by R.F. Kuang. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I just think even on a plain hardcover, having something on the cover is really, really cool. Again, I'm not going to go into detail about this book because I think everyone and their fucking mother has heard of it, but I'm very excited to own this. And look at that tagline. To hell with love. It's just, it's a vibe. On the same visit, decided that I was going to just purchase the book that I had intended to purchase when I purchased The Soulmate. So I saw The Younger Girls.
I know based on this video it seems really hard to believe that I read, but I really do, so I'm sorry that I seem so stupid.
Big W, and I thought I'm just going to buy it brand new because every time I see Sally Hepworth, the younger wife is never there. It's always all of her other books at the secondhand stores, but never the one that I'm looking for. So I thought I'm just going to get it. I think this follows a pair of sisters and their dad's new wife, which might be a bit too relatable to me. I am a product of divorce. I am sure my personality makes no secret of that. But sometimes I find these books hit very, very close to home. So I don't know. I was recommended this book specifically by one of the girls at book club, so I am very excited for it. And within, I think, that same week, I also received my copy of Rose and Chains by Julie Soto. This is the Fairy Loot edition. It is my favorite edition. I did read this book prior to purchasing this special edition. This book was it's just so beautiful. Yeah, this was such an amazing book. I hadn't read a fantasy in so long, or a romantasy rather, in so long, and this book really just reminded me of all the reasons why I love romantasies. So that was, I remember the day that I got it in the mail, I was so excited. I'm still so excited. Seeing it brings me so much fucking joy. Then we've got a couple more, two more that I found. I'm gonna be so real, guys. I thought I was doing these chronologically from like the ones that I bought back in July up to current day, and in some cases that is accurate, but this definitely isn't. Like, these two books I'm about to show you should be in the last stack, not in this stack. I don't know what's happened, but I found these two at Savers. So we have 50/50 by Steve Kavanaugh. This is one that I've just seen floating around the Thriller Cider Book Talk for a while. It is about two sisters who each accuse the other of killing their father. And the two sisters, I think, are on trial against each other. So like the Menendez brothers, if they hated each other, I guess. And I also found, and this is one of my most exciting secondhand finds, The Little Friend by Miss Donna Tartt. This is not her first book. I thought that she published The Little Friend first and then The Secret History. This actually was her second book. The Secret History was her debut novel. That is crazy behavior. But I'm very excited for this one. This one definitely seems more like a murder mystery. It's about a girl who, when she was a baby, her 9-year-old brother was found hanging from a tree. And obviously there was foul play. Like, 9-year-olds usually don't hang themselves from a tree, and they usually can't hang themselves from trees. And the cops can never figure out what had happened. So now that she's 12, she wants to figure out what happened to her brother before she really got to know him. So I'm very excited. I think it is an ugly but creepy but cool kind of cover. So that is another stack down. Let's jump into the second to last stack. So you guys know how I was talking about how much I love A Little Life earlier? I decided to purchase the 10th anniversary UK edition of A Little Life. Is there anything special about this apart from the cover? Literally no. Like, it is just a standard hardcover. It does have, I think, a Q&A with Hanya Nagahara, but there is nothing special about this apart from the cover. And I have no regrets. I have no regrets. I also purchased the newest Mona Awad, which is We Love You Bunny. Didn't realize this was gonna have sprayed edges. I went to Big W looking for it. I picked it up and I went, oh, that's a fun little surprise. I was one of those people that, like, I didn't love Bunny. Like, I wasn't over the moon, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was creepy and fun, and I love all the different theories about the ending. I think I'm gonna really enjoy this. I think I might enjoy this more than the first book. So we will see. I will have to read it to tell you. Okay, we have just readjusted and moved slightly. The next book is one that I know I don't need in my life, but I kind of do. It is the fancy, beautiful edition of Twilight. I think the coolest thing about this, I've never actually tried this on camera, so I'll see how well it turns out, is the sprayed edges. Oh my god, it looks like I'm doing a magic trick. It looks like I'm doing a magic trick. Oh, it's just so cool. That is such a cool little thing. Like, if people hate sprayed edges, would they be more happy if the sprayed edges did things like that? Because I just think that is the coolest little thing I've ever seen. So this is the, what is it, 20th anniversary of Twilight? Shit, yeah, it came out 2005. That's crazy, because I read Twilight in 2008. I read Twilight in 2008. I read Twilight 17 years ago. That's crazy talk. Either way, I ended up going with the, like, floral of just Twilight. I do love the hardcovers of the entire series, but I genuinely don't know where the fuck I'd put them, because I wouldn't want them to replace my OG paperbacks, because I loved my OG paperbacks. So I decided I'm just gonna get the one instead of the whole series. Next we have Fake Skating by Lynn Painter. This is her newest release, and it is a YA book. And while I'm very much excited for it, because Lynn Painter can do no wrong in my heart, except for Nothing Like the Movies, that book was fucking atrocious, I feel like every single one of her books has a fake dating trope. Like, every single one of them. Like, Made for Each Other, that I'm reading right now, also has a fake dating trope. And this is also a fake dating trope. So I'm thinking, like, obviously, she's formulaic. That is fine. I think I might need some diversity from Miss Lynn Painter. But I'm still very excited for this. So we'll see how we go. Next, I have my pre-order of Alchemized. Now, I got the fun sprayed edges. I think this is the Australian edition. I don't think the Americas or the UK's got this sprayed edge. It is a fucking chonker. I think my stepdad was there when I opened this, and he goes, "Oh my god, that is such a big book. Like, how long is that going to take you to how long is that going to take you to finish?" I couldn't tell you guys. I am not as fast a reader as I used to be. Rather, okay, let's take that back. I still read at the same speed, or maybe faster, but I used to read for like 6 hours a day. If I didn't have work or school, I would just sit there and read for like 6 to 8 hours a day. Nowadays, I read in like hour-long chunks 3 or 4 times a day. So I don't know how long this is going to take me. I don't know when I'm going to be emotionally prepared to start it, but it's just so pretty. So that lives in my bookshelf now. Okay, so this was a somewhat unsuccessful shopping trip from Savers. I found one book, but I wasn't super invested in it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's called The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue, and I have no idea what this is about. I think this is like a coming of age funny sort of story, but I don't actually know what it's about. It says that this book is about love. Don't know. I think I saw a couple of people recommend it, and I was mildly intrigued, so I obviously purchased it, but it was only a couple of dollars. It's fine. Next, based on a TikTok recommendation, I purchased Everything You Ever Wanted by Louisa Suma. This, I think, follows a woman who is given the opportunity to live on a different planet, and she takes it because she's over Earth. Relatable. So I purchased it. I think this is going to have a kind of similar vibe to I Who Have Never Known Men. We'll see. The covers look very similar to me at the very least. Next, I went to my Lucy Score event. There's a whole vlog that focuses on it, and with my ticket to the event, I got this special edition of Story of My Life by Miss Lucy Score, and I also got it signed and personalized. It was one of my favorite nights ever, so this is one of my new prized possessions. But following that night, I also purchased Pretend You're Mine by Lucy Score because someone asked her what her favorite line she'd ever written was, and apparently it's a line from this book, and the line is just the word stay. And I was intrigued because as soon as Lucy said stay, half the crowd was going, "Oh!" And I was like, holy shit, I need to be in on this thing. I need to know what stay means. So I purchased this book. And last one for this stack is the newest release by Bren Weaver, Taurus Season. I think this is almost exactly the same plot to Butcher and Blackbird. Well, I don't know. I think this woman only kills really bad people, and he's like, well, I need to kill the killer, and then he finds out that she's hot. So, yeah, that's the last one from that stack, which means we have got one stack left, guys. Okay, we're gonna have to move through this stack swiftly because I think my phone is going to die very soon. So we have got Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace, the newest release from Hannah Grace. It is a Christmas romance, that's all I know about it, but this is the second book that is going to be a Christmas read for me. I also purchased Piranesi by Susanna Clarke because this was on a Prime Day sale for like $12. This follows a house that I think is bigger on the inside than the outside. A lot of people compare it to House of Leaves, but to me it looks like it should be about Greek mythology, and I don't think it has anything to do with Greek mythology. So I don't know, man, but it looks like a short book, and I hope that I enjoy it because I've heard so many amazing things about it. Next, I picked up a book by Bryn Greenwood. Now, Bryn Greenwood wrote one of my favorite books of all times. It's called All the Ugly and Wonderful Things. I love that book. Very controversial, but I have no words. Like, I fucking love that book with my entire heart. So when I found out that she'd written a thriller, I was like, how did I not know about this? This book follows a woman who was kidnapped, and she lives in a house where this man brings children he's kidnapped, and it's her job to cook and clean for them. So she's kind of like a nanny for these kidnapped children, but she herself is also kidnapped. It sounds very intriguing to me, and apparently the less you know going into it, the better. So that is all I know, and I'm very excited to read this book. I might actually read this next. I don't know. I also picked up the newest release by Miss Ali Hazelwood, Mate, which is the sequel to Bride. I have not read Bride. I have not read Mate, but when I do read them, they will be there to read back to back. Now, the next book I have is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. You're probably wondering, if I purchased it, why am I not holding it? I have lent it to my mother. So Atmosphere is actually my book club's October book of the month, and I told my mum about it, and I was like, it's all about NASA and space. Like, this is definitely a you book. Like, this is not a Steph book. So I lent her my physical copy to read, and I'm going to listen to the audiobook I borrowed from my library. My mum says she's liking it, so I hope that I do as well. I'm not a space person, I'm not a science person, so I'm a little bit apprehensive, but I have high hopes, and one day I will have the physical book back in my possession. The next book I found at Savers was Charlotte Says. Now, this is a sequel to a book called Frozen Charlotte that I read years and years and years ago, and I remember reading Frozen Charlotte and thinking I need to buy the sequel. And at the time I didn't have a job and I wasn't working because I was studying full time, and books were just so expensive and like so far out of my reach. But you know, 10 years later I found a copy at Savers, so I'm going to have to go back, reread Frozen Charlotte, and then I can read the sequel. So this just follows, the first book follows these creepy Charlotte dolls. Are they called Charlotte dolls, or are they Frozen Charlotte dolls? I don't know, but these like creepy porcelain dolls that come to life at night. So definitely light-hearted family fun. The next book I found at this particular trip to Savers is called Anatomy: A Love Story by Dana Schwartz, I think is her name. I can't really read this font super well, but I've had my eye on this book for a while. I love any book that has a tagline that just says a love story, or a subtitle rather. But the thing that has been keeping me from purchasing this brand new is that it is set in the 1800s. It kind of seems reminiscent of Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, but I'm not great with historical, so this could be really amazing and blow my mind, or it could just be the most boring thing I've ever picked up. But look at this beautiful cover. That was a couple of dollars. And the last thing I found at this particular trip to Savers was Diary by Chuck Palahniuk. I've never heard of this book by Mr. Chuck Palahniuk. I am intrigued though. Chuck Palahniuk is either like writes the most interesting, twisty, creative books ever, or he writes books that I'm genuinely so bored by. I will let you guys know where this one falls. This is, I think, the first Spooktober in, I think, 3 or 4 years where I have not read a Chuck Palahniuk book, so maybe I will pick this one up. No promises, but maybe. Next, I purchased a bunch of books from Amazon. So, the first one we'll talk about is The End of Alice by A.M. Holmes. This is a controversial book. It is like always listed as a disturbing book because it follows a woman and she is writing to a convicted child murderer / pedophile, asking him advice on how to seduce a child. It sounds fucking disgusting, but it sounds like the kind of book that is going to be so difficult to look away from that I wanted to get it. So I did. I also picked up Ling Ling Huang's newest book, Immaculate Conception. This has something to do with transplanting consciousness, your consciousness into someone else, or their consciousness into you. I don't know, I haven't read it yet, but I think Ling Ling is going to be one of my new favourite speculative fiction authors. Just the vibes that I get from this and Natural Beauty, which I also haven't read, but very excited. I've had my eye on this one since it was released. In the same order, I also purchased Cackle by Rachel Harrison because this month, spoilers ahead, I ended up reading Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. I've also read Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison, and I have loved them both so fucking much that I was like, I need to go back and read her first book. So this is about a girl who moves to a new town, makes friends with this woman that everyone else in town is really suspicious of because they think that she's a witch. We love a witch book in this household, we do. And the last one I purchased from Amazon in this particular order was Her Last Move by John Mars. This, I believe, was on sale. I think it was a Prime sale, so I picked this one up because I don't own it yet. And I basically love everything John Mars has written. I know this is one of his older books, and based on the fact that I just finished When You Disappeared and I fucking loved it, I'm very excited for this one. So that was Amazon. Then a few days ago, I went to Savers. So this is like almost current day, guys. A few days ago, today it's Monday, so on Friday after work, I went to Savers. I found 4 books. So quite a successful trip to Savers. First, I found God's Behaving Badly by Marie Phillips. Someone I was watching on BookTube recently talked about this book, and I don't remember if they said it was good or bad, but this is Greek gods set in a modern setting, and I don't know what happens. I couldn't tell you. I think it's just like gods behaving like fucking humans and making fools of themselves. I also found The House of Hidden Meanings by Mr. RuPaul Charles. I am not a massive nonfiction girly, but when I am, I usually gravitate towards memoirs. And while I've definitely fallen out of love with RuPaul's Drag Race in the last couple of years, there are some moments of that show that genuinely just make me so fucking happy. So I'm a little bit excited to learn more about RuPaul's life because I actually don't know much about it. So very interested for this one. I also found The Maid by Nita Prose. This sounds like a pretty typical whodunit murder mystery about a woman who works as a maid at a hotel, walks into a hotel room to clean it, finds a dead body, and is like part of the investigation and trying to figure out who committed this murder and why. I know that this book is quite popular. I feel like I see it in Kmart and Big W a lot, so when I found it for like $4, we picked it up. But my most like happy purchase from this Savers trip was a special signed limited edition of Beautiful Disaster by Jane Maguire. So this is a hardcover. This is a signed hardcover, and I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I'm gonna be real controversial. Beautiful Disaster, one of the best romances I've ever read. I read this when I was like 15, and it still holds its place in my heart as like top 10. So don't care if you hate it, don't care if you think it's toxic, and I don't care if you think the movie was shit. I haven't seen the movie, I'm sure it is terrible, but I fucking love this book, and the fact that I have a hardcover of this book and I purchased it for $6.50, like I have no words. When I saw this, first of all, when I saw it was a hardcover, I was so fucking excited. I was like, oh my god, a hardcover of one of my favorite books. And then when I pulled it and I saw this, and then I flipped and I saw the signature, I was dying inside. You should have seen me walking around Savers clutching it like this so no one could take it from me. It was pretty funny. The last 2 books I have are 2 more books that I found on Amazon's Prime sales. They were both imports from the US, but they were cheaper to import from America than they were to buy on Australian Amazon. Isn't that like... I don't know how that works. The first one is The Devil Crept In by Anya Elborn. This month, man, I'm referencing what I've read this month a lot in this video. This month nope, it was last month. I read Brother by Anya Elborn. Really enjoyed it. I think it was like a really well written story. Very sad. So when I saw this for like $12, I thought, fuck it, let's just get it. This follows, I think, the disappearance of a child and the subsequent events of what happens after he's been announced missing, I think. Last book of the video, guys, is The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Rosh. This is a very kind of basic sprayed edge, but anyway, this follows the Prince of Christmas and the Prince of Halloween and them competing against each other to win the Easter Princess's hand in marriage, except neither of them really want to marry the Easter Princess. They're just doing it to kind of get a rise out of each other. This is going to be, I think, the perfect Christmas book. So this is the 3rd and final Christmas romance I'll be reading in December this year. I don't know how long this video is. I don't want to edit it. I don't want to stand up. I feel like this video was very like non-personal. I feel like I usually try to just be like my genuine happy self in these videos, and I just feel like this video was so overwhelming. So if I seem a little bit like cold, a little bit rushed, if I sound like I'm talking very fast, it's just because this video was overwhelming. I think the next video I film is probably going to be my Spooktober wrap-up, and I love my wrap-ups. I just love talking about books, and I think the issue with hauls is that I'm not talking about the books in a way where I'm remembering them, so it's just not as interesting for me to film, I'll be honest, but I do like recording hauls because it's kind of like a personal record of the terrible financial decisions I've made. Anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing day. This probably won't be uploaded for like a couple of weeks based on how much fucking editing I'm gonna have to do. But thank you for being here, and I will see you soon.